Hi guys, welcome back. Right, so at the beginning of this video, I just wanted to record this and just to say a few thank yous. I'm sat here with on decent painkillers because I've been off work for the last few days with a trapped nerve in my back, so I can't really straighten my left leg properly. So it's been a challenging few days. However, I just wanted to say a few thank yous. So first, I'd like to thank John Bailey at JB Scale Creations, Paul at Left Coast Model Car Videos, and Jimmy Whittle at Kit Bashed Customs. On this video, I will put some links to their channels, but they have been promoting and shouting out my channel in theirs, and in the last 48 hours, we have the subscribers have gone up by 150 subscribers, which is absolutely mind blowing. But the views on the sectioning the video of the 40 Ford have gone over 3,000. I mean, I've had nowhere near that in any of my other videos. So I just want to say a massive thank you to all of you that watched my videos, supported the channel. It really does mean a lot. It's inspired me to continue doing these builds. This 40 Ford is obviously people like it. Jimmy's building a 40 Ford as well. He's going to be documenting his build for FAF on his channel. But I do want to say, Jimmy, his comment on his video about me talking funny, I do forgive you, Jimmy, because you talk funnier than I do. But Jimmy and I are kind of cut from the same cloth. Jimmy's my friend, and he's into the same sort of weird stuff that I am. So yeah, I just wanted to give those people a shout out to everybody. And I'm going to sign off from this now, because you don't want to listen to me rambling on and see this ugly mush. So I'm going to get into the what we're doing next on the 40 Ford. All right, guys, cheers. Hey guys, right, so thank you for continuing after seeing my ugly mush. Right, this is where we left the 40 Ford last time. The rear end is now attached. Since the last video, I have all of the inner structure here for the rear fenders, inside the rear fenders, I've hogged that out. Purely because in these 40 Fords, the interior is an absolute pig to get to fit. I mean, if you notice, the fit on it now that we've sectioned it, it's underhanging the body, which we're going to need to address. Now, I'm still in two minds whether to try and open the doors or not. So we'll address the interior at a different point. What I have noticed though is since the roof's come down, it's pushed the interior tub forward, which we're going to have to address. And at some point. Maybe we'll cut the interior tub up and sort of modify it to fit what we need it to do. We just don't know yet. But the main concern at the moment is in this video we're going to get the front end attached and get that in place. Sorry about the camera work here, this is really shoddy. We're going to get that into place. But my main concern at the moment is this turbine engine. I'll just lift the camera up here. Is this turbine engine. Now, didn't realise just how massive this thing is. And in this configuration, it's just not going to work. I did white glue it together, this bit on the side, last night, and it's huge. It's just not going to work in this configuration. I'll just insert a couple of pictures here now to show you what I mean. So, as you can see, it just didn't work. But this is an experimental engine, not designed from anything in particular. I had a conversation with a friend, John Rackham, last night, who a few years ago did speak to Bob Payeth, I think it is, who was the designer of this, and he said that he was told that it was designed from a helicopter engine, parts of a helicopter engine, parts of an experimental British rover turbine, and bits he made up. So, not sure how accurate this thing is, but it's got the look of a turbine. And I've decided I am going to use it, but I'm not going to use these side bits. I'm going to try and I'm pretty sure I can get that in and kind of make it look convincing. And I don't think, with it being a show car, I don't think anybody's going to go, the rivet counters are going to go, oh no, that turbine engine won't work. And if they do, I really don't care. I just want it to look, the part, because I do like this turbine effect that it's got, rather than a conventional V8 or a straight 6 or something. So we are going to use that. How we're going to get it in there, I haven't really thought about yet. Something's gonna have to be engineered, whether we use the original chassis, which I don't think we're going to, because it would be too much like hard work, and I don't enjoy doing that. So we'll probably make another chassis plate and somehow get this block to look convincing in there. But all of this front end is going to be kind of moulded in to some degree. So yeah, we'll see where we go with that. But for now, we're going to concentrate on getting this front end on. So let's have it go. So this, I've been messing about with it over the last day, and this part had a return on it. I have actually just cut that off because it was just getting in the way, so that can go in the bin. All what this is about now is getting the position of this correct. We can, but the main bit is the front, and then, I mean, all of this top section we can change and mould and do what we want with. But it's all about getting the length right and then the position vertically on the body. I kind of want, I could position it right at the top here by the top of where the headlights meet here. However, if we do that, I mean, we could bring it up to the top there, but what I want is a gentle sweep from the top of the fender into the custom part. And then we can, all of this here is going to get panelled in around the engine when I get that in position. So work on the front end is going to be quite slow. And the next thing after that is I've got to get the interior to fit properly and get the chassis plate made, because I need to get the engine in its correct position so I can continue with the front end. And also I want to radius the arches, so I need the wheels in its correct position so I can radius them out and get them nice and tight, if you will. Then they don't look ridiculous. I want it nice and low, so they've got to be nicely tucked up into the body. And then maybe we'll have a slight rake to it. We'll see. But it's got to, the stance has got to be right. Otherwise, as I've said before, the wheels, you build basically a model or a car around the wheels and stance, because that is probably one of the most important things. So as it stands at the moment, I need to get this positioned, and I've made a couple of marks on the body here, just a couple of pencil marks. And realistically, I don't need to cut the front of this body off because I've got plenty of mounting point for it. It can be glued on nice and solidly. What we are going to have to do is trim the bottom of this. Now, on this custom part, you did have some like freestanding headlights, which I'm not going to use, because with model cars, we can pretend stuff. And I'm going to assume that the headlights are situated behind the grille. Because realistically, so it's going to be underneath this, the headlights are going to be underneath this grille. Realistically, if this were real, one, it probably wouldn't work, and two, it would never ever see the road. It will be driven in from a trailer into a show or something like that. So, and probably not even driven, probably pushed, like a lot of these show cars were. So yeah, so this one is what we're going to do now is trim the bottom off this. So I'll come back to you when I've trimmed that off. I mean, if we trim too much, we can add plastic in with we can add depth in, and we can add the depth back in and reshape it, kind of thing, and build the underhang to what we want it. So all at the moment is getting this bit positioned. So I'm going to trim that down and then come back to you. Right, so I have trimmed off the bottom of that custom part. It's always really, really nerve-wracking chopping up these pieces, purely because of how rare they are. And I've only got one of these. It's pretty irreplaceable. It's come from a mint kit, so yeah, it's always a bit of a twitchy bum type. But hey ho, you can always add bits of plastic. So what I've done is I've made a couple of marks on the body, and I've made marks which are central in the headlights. So, and then on the custom part, luckily we've got that little central peak there. So I've made some marks on the body, on the custom part, that correspond with these marks here, so I can get it lined up. This is where it'd be helpful to have extra hands, because yeah, it is what it is. So we get the I'm going to get the custom part lined up, and I'm going to go with that top mark on that side of that fender. So yeah, we're just going to tack it in place now, because what we can do is just get it lined up with these marks here. It's always a bit fun trying to get these lined up. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to put a little tack of super glue here, just there. Give that a little squirt of accelerator. And that's just about held. And then we'll line this one up. I mean, that's way off actually. Let me just mark that out. So and then I mean, there is a certain amount of eyeballing goes on. That needs to come. Sorry about this. Mark the centre of that there. We'll be able to see if that lines up. No, it don't. Needs to, does it need to? Oh shit. Just excuse me here. Right, so that is now pretty square. It was throwing me off because the headlight buckets on the 40 Ford are not square. Just looks a little bit off to me actually. That's better. That's much better. We'll chuck a bit of super glue in there now. That should. Yeah, that's much better. So that is now tacked in. Yeah, happy with that. So as you can see, that is now sort of all kind of tacked in place. We'll what we can do is we'll flow some super glue into that to get it a bit more solid, because as I say, it is just tacked at the moment and it is pointing up a little bit, so we'll just push that in. No. Right, I'm going to have to do this off camera because I can't do it looking through the camera, I'm afraid. I'll come back to you. Right guys, so after a bit of faffing about, I've now got the front end. I kind of like the balance of how long it is on the front, but now I've put the bumperettes on, I'm not convinced about the length of the rear end. We'll see. I'm going to stare at it a bit. Now, I do like that. I do like the front end. I think what's throwing me off somewhat is the gap between the top of this fender now, just here, the top of the fin and the top of the fender. I might just chuck a little bit of plastic in there, just tack something in just to fill a little bit of that void, just to see if it's any better or whether I need to cut more off this and bring it in a bit. I mean, it's going to be extreme, but so what? It is what it is. We love extreme cars. I mean, the plan is I'm going to extend these fenders into a scoop and do some work. I've also been thinking that this fin, I may even continue the character line through and sharpen up the edge of the fin. I mean, if I open this these wheel arches out a bit, I think it might even make the back end look even longer. We'll just have to see. These things are very, very fluid and take some thinking about. I mean, it looks a bit more extreme on camera, but yeah, we will see. There's not much further I can actually go, but it's like that tail light in there, that's epic. I love the rear end on it. It just maybe needs to be a bit closer to the body. I don't know. We'll just see what it looks like when I get this, when I get a piece of plastic, which I might try and do now. Right. Okay. I just had to do that for my own peace of mind. So we have just put in a little bit of plastic to the fin in there, just to fill that gap up. And then we've just thrown on a little bit of plastic here, tacked it in to visualise some sort of running board, because it does need a running board to tie both ends together. Now, yeah, I'm kind of feeling a lot better about it now. That rear end looks so much better now. We are going to open the arches out, I think, but we are going to put some sort of scoop in the fenders. That's a real 60s trick. And then we are going to somehow extend, I think, we're going to stylize this rear fender somehow. I'm not quite sure. We'll just kind of take it as it is. It is going to be a very fluid project, this. I knew I wanted to use these parts, but I didn't know what was going to happen in between. Again, this is very, very inspired by the two models that I showed you in the previous videos, the Astrodan and the red one. It's going to be, it's a wild custom. So, but right now, there's not a lot else I can do styling wise on it until I get the chassis sorted, the wheels in the right position. Because I mean, for me, it sits right now. That's how low I want it to sit. But the wheels are literally blue tacked to the inside of the fenders. So somehow we need to get that sorted, and leaning towards just making another chassis plate, but making it so this turbine lump attaches to it somehow, and when you look down through the bonnet or through the engine bay, you don't see a lump of plastic, but it's kind of going to be moulded around it, so you're probably not going to see much of it. So we'll just have to see. I'm going to walk away from the bench now and have a bit of a think about this whole thing. Thinking possibly that these front fenders need to be pontooned a little bit more into the body. I'm not sure. That's decisions that need to be made, but it's certainly going to be a wild one, is this one. So thank you guys. As I say, I'm going to go have a bit of a think how I'm going to do the underneath of it. And I'm almost embarrassed to think how far and what lengths I'll go to not actually do a proper chassis. So yeah, we'll see. All right, guys, thank you, and I'll see you on the next one.